Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulillah ba'd. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another episode with Ibraaheem Menk. Today's topic is something, which is our youngsters are hooked to their console. It's about gaming, People spend hours and hours in playing games, Let it, not only PlayStation, but other games as well, Nintendo, PlayStation, whatever you mean. But it's all about gaming. So we want to actually discuss with Sheikh, the outcomes, the effects of gaming, prolonged gaming, or whether this gaming, what does it actually help us with, whether there's any benefit to it. So tell us, Sheikh, today's the young youth spend like some are even spending 24 hours, or without endless sleeps. They gather with their friends, they connect through. Now they don't need to come to one sitting room to actually, have the team match.
Yes.
They can actually do it while being in their rooms or in their living rooms.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about, what this affects the community as a community or as an individual.
As a community, I think it affects people in a great way, because if you look at society, it's already fragmented. And now, as you were saying, previously, even during the games, you had to come together and be in one lounge looking at each other. There's some physical interaction, social interaction. Now there is no social interaction. It's simply you on the VR or what have you, and then you've got another player who's at his home as well, sitting in his lounge, and you're both interacting in a virtual reality. It's not even the reality. It's not even what is happening in real life. But to that person who's engaged, it is ever more real than everything else. Sometimes it gets to the point, and someone was telling me this in the UK, that his son, the hands that you have in this virtual reality, they are different hands. So the consoles are held in the hands, and you actually see these two hands in front of you. When he came out of the game, he actually believed that my hands are not real. My hands are not real. They had to take him to the psychiatrist to convince him that these are his real hands. Another case, the person died in the game. He came out of the game saying, Wallahi, these were his words to me. He was a non-Muslim actually, and he was telling me that my son, or someone close to him, I can't remember who it was exactly, but he actually said, I'm dead now. Khalas, I died in the game. Right? Yeah, but I'm dead now. It's over. My life is over. And they had to convince him that that wasn't reality. That's how long people are spending in these realities. They say the ruling on something, if you want to understand it, you have to picture that, that scenario, that situation before yourself. So I didn't do it specifically for this, but I once went and used this virtual reality just for about an hour or so, where it would give me an idea of what was happening. And at the same time, I wanted to see what it's all about. To the person, as I was wearing this, it is as real as it gets. They take you up into a elevator in a building, and you go up to the top floor. And I think this is one of the first things they do when you get into virtual reality, almost like an initiation process to teach you that this is real, right? So you go up to the highest floor and get out onto a plank, and then you're supposed to jump off that plank. And internally that I'm standing on the ground, but it's so scary for you to jump off that. And as I got off the plank, I braced myself for the fall, and I could feel myself falling. That is the feeling that I got. So I understand why it is so attractive. It feels like reality, but it's an ideal world that they are introducing you to. Sometimes I think about this and I think, how does it tie into Dajjal and deception? Because this seems like reality, but it's a deception. It's not reality. Yeah. So how real can it get? And how long before we start saying, okay, there will be real estate that you own, and people are already
doing that.
Yes.
They have their own avatars, now that people who create the avatar, they create it in the best of forms, that they want. So people are less saying, I'm not saying, who are not comfortable or who are like, saying they don't like themselves, themselves. So they create a better them in the
Yes.
in the virtual world, and they call it their avatar.
Yes,
And then they form their bodies in the best form. They're just comparing themselves.
Yes.
So they're basically trying to create something.
Yes.
And some go to the extent where they're saying they are also creating.
Yes.
They have human beings being created. Now they're creating something
Else.
of their else.
Yes. What will that child do? They already had insecurities. They felt, oh, my eyebrows are the wrong way, or my nose is slightly bent, my smile is wrong, my teeth are missing, and they feel insecure due to this. They don't want to interact with other people, or they're very aware of these defects according to them, that this is a defect in me. And they go out to community feeling this insecurity. Imagine what that does to them when they can now create an avatar and present that. They feel like no need to go out. Just
be there in this.
Just be there in this. And it's so perfect. And that's the way. Now, the problem that we have today is, previously when we gamed, it was like gaming and you know that it's over and it's done with. That's not reality. That's just a game, right? But now that is becoming the reality, and it's the only thing they know from a young age. So they don't want to live out of that game. They'd rather, in fact, some of them spend more time on that game than they spend in reality. So how long before people are convinced that that is reality and that is the real world? Allahu Akbar. And we've reached a point in development and technology where you don't need to leave your home to live. I can order things at home, click of the button, your groceries are there, everything is taken care of, your bills, water bills are paid, your electricity bill is paid online. It can all be done. You can make money online as well. So no need to leave your apartment. What happens to people as a whole if we leave them doing this, altogether?
It might not be long enough until when they actually eat from this virtual reality, and they feel, they have eaten something. They don't need to actually go out and eat something.
Wow.
They have actually, one thing is they're wasting so much of time.
Yes.
One thing is, time is something so valuable which they don't understand, and these games are getting them hooked like anything. Second is actually, some are actually physically, some are actually making businesses, making money out of it. But most of the people are probably losing money.
Yes.
They're wasting money as well.
Yes. نعمتان مغبون فيهما كثير من الناس. There are two bounties that most people are at loss with regards to. الصحة والفراغ. Your good health and your free time. And interestingly, both of those are being sucked away at or sapped away from with gaming. One, you are losing your time. So many a times, salah time comes, it goes, this child is not even aware. Never mind child, we are talking about 18, 20 years old, 25 years old.
Yeah, even the grown-ups these days.
Even grown-ups, subhanAllah, salah time comes, it goes, and you haven't even mentioned Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You haven't even thought about salah. And secondly, as-sihhatu wal-faragh. So good health as well. Interestingly, we were talking to a brother recently, and he was saying that some of these children reach the age of grade 5, grade 6, where they are now 8, 9, 10 years old. And the child can't even jump. Allahu Akbar. Why? Simply because they were gaming. So people take this for granted, the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us health, good health. And we are impacting our health and our time, and our health, included in health, is our mental health. So imagine what social skills that child will have tomorrow when they need to go out and speak to people and interact with them. It's not as easy and as glamorous as it is as you age. You reach the age of 35, 38, 40. Now you are unmarried. You haven't got the social skills to even get married in the first place. You haven't spoken to people much your whole life. What impact does that have on your entire life? You've lost out a lot. All you know is this game. And how long before your mind is saturated with the pleasure chemicals and that, and you no longer feel anything from that game as well? Where I'm dead inside now. And we find that, I don't know if there is a correlation between gaming and suicide, but I think in time to come, there may actually be a correlation between suicide and gaming. Why? Because you've flooded your brain with chemicals, and we find this with porn addiction as well. I will speak about my personal experience of people who come to me saying, I have porn addiction and now I want to kill myself. Why? Because he's overstimulated himself to the point where nothing else interests him. You know, tell him to swim in the ocean. He says, what, are you crazy? Why would I do that to myself? In his mind, he can't even imagine doing that. So it has a greater impact than we can imagine. You know, another verse that comes to mind is وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا لَعِبٌ وَلَهُ. And this dunya is nothing but play and amusement. So the dunya and what is attached to the dunya is all play and amusement.
Exactly.
And in another verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا لَعِبٌ وَلَهٌ وَزِينَةٌ وَتَفَاخُرٌ بَيْنَكُمْ وَتَكَاثُرٌ فِي الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَوْلَادِ. It is just simply beautifying and increasing in wealth and in children, right? That is all the dunya. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about how the dunya is amusement and play. What happened to your akhirah? What happened to after death? That is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses. That is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to address as well. Why were you created? To simply play a game and leave this world? You know?
Sheikh, well, we need to actually go take a small break. Hold on to your consoles. We'll be right back, inshallah. Welcome back. I am sure you've been actually holding on to your console. So we're back to our topic, gaming. Now, Shahi, before we went into the break, you mentioned about a correlation, whether there is a correlation of suicide. But I think there was an incident in New Zealand,
Okay.
you know, with which most of the people said, you know, he was actually Call of Duty. I think I'm not a gamer, you know, I think probably too old for that. But then there is a gaming called Call of Duty where they actually go out and shoot. And this person went in the masjid and shooting, you know, just like a free, you know, killing whoever who came across, you know. And then I think I don't know, but there was, you know, what I heard is that he got the inspiration from Call of Duty, that game. So there is a direct correlation, you know.
Yes, between killing and gaming. That's the other aspect of it, is that we're not saying that will be the direct result, but perhaps in certain cases like the one that you've mentioned, it may have been the cause of this person actually going out there and doing something very bad. And that's the other aspect of this. What kind of games are we playing? Are they to do with killing, murdering, raping, looting, you know? And like we were saying, rightfully so, you know, previously it was just a screen and avatars that were playing online, or, you know, figures that were playing. And your figure, this figure belonged to you and that one belonged to that person. Now you are actually that person in the game. So to what extent can we say that sexual abuse becomes a problem? You know, we have cases where there are predators out there going for minors who are playing the game as well. So when does that become an issue? Where does the law stand with that? A person who was abusing someone online, a child, for example, grooming the child. Perhaps he put his age as a lower age as well, and he lied about that. So there are serious dangers out there with regards to games and how we are programming our minds to think in the first place. Because this person that we are talking about probably lived in the game more than they actually lived in reality.
Yeah.
And then now Call of Duty for them is, hey, go out and shoot and kill.
Yeah.
So for him, it's a game. It doesn't matter what, even if blood is being spilled. Oh, there's blood being spilled all the time in the game. So just do it. It doesn't matter. You know, there's another game that, without mentioning names, due to, you know, legislation and what do you call it? Litigation, where they can come after you. The game actually, sometimes they come after you for saying things.
Yeah.
So there's a game that where you actually go and they encourage you to steal cars from other people and beat up other people. And there's, you know, they go as far as you get into a car with a person of the opposite gender or someone of your liking, and you do acts of, you know, haram, what is determined as haram in Islam. So what is that programming the brain of your child to be? And I think one of the solutions that we need to be engaged in, or we should know what our children are playing in terms of these games, what games they are playing. What is the content in that game? What is the goal in that game?
When you actually mentioned about, you know, like knowing what they're playing, I think there are some games where which can be considered a trick. You know, some games which actually associates, you know, which ask the player to actually perform, you know, just like stealing.
Yes.
You know, stealing, okay, it's prohibited, but they're doing because it's a game. You know, can that be something which is considered haram? You know?
Yes, absolutely. It can constitute as shirk as well. If you are bowing in a game to other than an
deity.
idol,
Yeah.
other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, an idol or some sort of deity that is made to be out to be God, then that
The Greek
constitutes
gods, you know, I
shirk.
think that there are games which are called God of War or God of Greek gods, or you know, all these sort of things. You know, a lot of people play these, you know,
Yes.
and probably they actually, you know, they in their mind, as you said, it's actually instilling that okay, these people existed, you know, and they had these powers, you know, because at the minor age when they play this, and then
Yes.
when you actually get, you know, onto it, hook off it, and then
Yes.
you try to actually realize that, you know, oh, who are these guys? These are very powerful people. Probably
Yes.
these existed, you know, and they start questioning.
Yes, 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 absolutely. I mean, this is another dimension that you are bringing in now, because previously it was about the crimes that they were committing, like stealing, raping, murdering, looting, or doing all of this. But this is, as we know in Islam, the greatest sin that you can commit is shirk. So bowing down to the idol or venerating and magnifying that idol also is something that can constitute of shirk. Of course, as soon as you bow down to an idol, believing that this is God, whether it is a game or not, that is, in reality, you've done that. So that with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is recorded as shirk, and it's a very dangerous door.
Shay, how can we actually, we are saying, you know, not all games are bad.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
we need entertainment, you
Yes.
know, for our youth, you know, you know, as the, you know, world changes, you know, there are least things people can go out and do. So obviously some people play, you know, racing games
Yes.
or footballs.
Yes.
But then how can we discipline ourselves to actually, when it's Salah time, you know,
Yes.
go out and pray, you know,
Yes.
the game can stand.
Yes.
But the salat in congregation is more important. How do we actually discipline this?
I think having it at a time where you know that there is a long time for salah. For example, after, you know, someone might say that this is not always practical because after Fajr, you know, say a few hours after Fajr, you've got a school to go to, etc. So, and that's probably not the ideal time. But say on a weekend, you've got time after your Fajr Salah, maybe that's the time, because before Dhuhr, you've got a long time. Or after Isha, you know, you play a few hours. You know, today you tell them 1 hour. He says, what's 1 hour, man? I can't do anything in 1 hour. So maybe you want to play a couple of hours after Isha and then go to sleep. Fine, no problem. But one, we need to make sure the game is good. It's benefiting us. It's actually, or we are just simply enjoying ourselves and it's halal. There's nothing wrong with it. No problem with that. Islam gives allowance there. Enjoy yourselves. Have a good time. But don't make that your life. When that becomes your life, that is when it's problematic. So having it at a time where Salah is a long time away, and then I think setting alarms and being disciplined to say, you know what, the alarm went off, the adhan is there, no matter where I am in this game, Allah is more important.
You can just
so
pause
I'm going
it.
to pause it. Yes,
Yeah, you can
I'm
just
going
pause
to
it and go back.
and go back. I think some of them today, they play live games.
Yeah.
And that's where they feel like, no, I can't leave this game. If that is the case and you can't leave your game for Salah, Islamically, you have a toxic relationship with your game. You need to give up that game. It means you can't give up your time for Salah, one, for Salah, and two, even if your parents are calling you or some other responsibilities there, you won't give up your time gaming in order to go to that responsibility. That is destroying your life. That's destroying
And then
your life.
the shaitan, which actually gives, because as you said, you know, when the best is actually those who actually pray in congregation at the time. So when you're in the middle of a game, you know, you think, okay, now is the whole time. Now you enough time until Asr. So the shaitan says, okay, delay it. You know, you still have time. Play this match.
Yes,
You know?
you still have another hour, another. I think the standard here, especially in the Maldives, it's easy for you to go to the masjid. The standard should be salah in the masjid. If you've got that standard with you, then it becomes easy. If we say, they have a lot of time, let them play, let them game, it's okay. No, that is giving shaitan a chance to make you miss your salah. Because shaitan doesn't come to you initially and say, you need to miss your salah. He knows you're a believer. He knows you want to go, perform salah and please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He'll tell you, hold on, just delay it 5 minutes. that 5 minutes turns into 10 and 20 and 30, and then salah time has passed and you haven't even prayed.
I think we have actually talked quite a lot about gaming, and then the issues we face with the gamers,
Yes.
the extreme gamers.
Yes.
But it has also benefits to it. So with that, we will actually end our episode for today, and we hope to actually meet you back with another topic, very important topics with Ibraaheem Menk. Until then, Assalamu alaikum.